Episode 7, part 5.
We were just having a little good laugh.
Yeah, anyways, the joke that we just had reminded me that Eeyore's birthday, which Steve will explain, I noticed that you bumped into, or maybe you didn't even talk to him, but you got a picture of my martial arts instructor.
Oh, is that what that guy was?
Yeah.
He had like some kind of instrument, and there were some people doing some martial arts stuff there, and I'm like, yeah, this is.
And so, you can't just accost somebody on the street, but boxing gyms, martial arts, long distance running, these are good ways to actually get out that aggression. So,
Yeah. So I guess this segment we were just going to discuss, just some personal things and things we've done, and just kind of, lighten it up for a second because, hey man, that's what life's really about at the end of the day. So Eeyore's birthday party I went to yesterday, it's held annually. It's the 60th anniversary, so this shit's older than us.
It's like a little bit. Yeah,
it's a hippie fest, basically. I think that's how it originated, actually, in a way, with a bunch of hippies, right?
Well, that's basically what it is. I don't remember how it started, but that's what it is.
What do you want to call it?
I mean, people
word?
show up, and do body paint so that they're in acrobatics and
they dress up.
And they dress up or dress down, however you want to
look at
it.
Very down in a lot of cases because, it just, I think it's just to kind of snub the nose of convention, so that, let's just walk around with our shirt, like women with their shirts off and,
and a little bit more in the air.
And, a lot of that going on, and you're drinking and you're smoking mostly weed. I don't even see people drinking these. I mean, once again, this is one of those things where because I don't do it, does that mean that nobody does it? Like, is that my own, like egocentric world? But I don't. If you're younger and you're in here, maybe come. I don't. Maybe outside of in colleges, maybe they still drink really heavily, but I don't think kids drink as much as they used to. I think they smoke more weed and do more psychedelics. I
honestly have no idea now that you mention it.
I don't think they drink as much.
I mean,
I come from the Midwest. That's all you fucking did. Like everybody drank all the time, all day. Like your dads did. Everybody.
Well, and then we've noticed that in the business community, salespeople in particular drink like nobody's business. Just it's insane.
Right, they used to. I don't know. Do they still? I don't think that's even
since COVID. Maybe not because you're not getting together for happy hour and stuff as often and.
Right. Well, maybe they still did, and I know that when I was working back in Chicago. Yeah, we'd go out for some drinks after work and stuff like that. But that was the Midwest, and that was 15 years ago. I don't know. Maybe I've changed.
We did pre-COVID, but again, it's a different world now.
Right. And I'm just wondering if and we're still older too. We're from another generation.
Yeah.
Where drinking was kind of the normalized thing. I don't think it's normal anymore for kids to get wasted. I go to concerts. Well, I don't see a concert today like a concert back in the 70s when I saw REO Speedwagon and Cheap Trick and people are nosediving on their face. And
I'm not seeing anything like that.
Yeah, I don't see anything like that at a concert today. But although I saw a girl laid out at Charlie XCX the other night. She was literally but there was
the show that we went to. I mean, there were people drinking. I mean, I got one drink for Rosie and I, but again, there wasn't every other person spilling a drink, trying to jostle around and all that
in the old
stuff.
days.
Yeah.
People have been blown out, man, just wasted. But so anyways, I went to Eeyore, and that was fun. We walked down there, Joanne and I, and it was quite a little hike. It was a little further than we expected, but we got down there and we walked around. We did 2 loops around. One and then one out. One loop around, sat for a minute, watched some guys play some chess, and chilled for a moment, and then walked our way out of there. It was worth it. I like going out there and seeing and just kind of watching the people. It's very interesting to people watch. I don't get quite as when it's a festival environment, and I'm not really having to do anything or be anywhere or accomplish anything, and I can just kind of look around and see what's up. I don't get as claustrophobic and nervous and agitated as I do in a store or when I'm out driving trying to get somewhere around people, or especially a grocery store. I get so frustrated. I still got these hang-ups with being around a lot of people at times and just people frustrating me in general. But for whatever reason, in a festival setting, in those kind of settings, I don't experience that as much as a lot of people do. Some people can't even go into those environments at all, and I can understand it. It's frustrating. I'm waiting for someone to jostle through, and then maybe there's some drunk guys all being obnoxious in your face, and I didn't see any of that. But there was plenty of people to agitate you, but I don't find that agitating. I can mosey around at my own pace, let people do their thing, and just kind of watch and just observe and just be in the moment, you know, and just kind of watch the spectacle and watch people express themselves in ways that they feel, you know, that they enjoy, you know. And there was, like I said, there was people doing all kinds of juggling, people doing handstands, that circle thing I took the video
cool.
of, with the girls, you know, doing their circles, like spinning around. Very interesting, very acrobatic. I couldn't believe the flexibility. This one dude was like on his hands, like his legs were all like, dude, his legs too, man. It looked like he had like runner legs, man. Crazy muscles.
Or bicycle.
Bicycle or something, man. Or just an acrobat, you know.
Right.
But
very muscular, yeah.
Yeah, like not like a stupid, like, you know, bodybuilder muscular, but like tone, fit, athletic muscular. The kind of muscular that makes sense. Yeah, so we did that, and, you know, I went 2 years ago. I went this year. It's 2 times I've been to that. So then the week prior, like the last time we spoke and we talked about concerts, I had been to Paul Simon, and then the following week is when I went to Charlie XCX, and that was quite the show too. It was just her, you know, doing her thing and dancing, and it was fun. The crowd really enjoyed it. I was very surprised at the some of the younger people there, because that's kind of an adult show in my opinion. Some of the lyrics, some of the
So you're saying like high school or younger kind of?
Yes, and I saw parents with like teenage kids, or, you know, young teens even, like next to, like over close to where I was sitting. I was like, you brought your kid. Do you understand the lyrics? Do you understand the lyrics? You know, some of that stuff.
That reminds me that some of the big hits from the 80s, I really enjoyed them at the time, and I still do, but I definitely did not understand them at the time, you know, and you go back and you're like, oh my God, like Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Relax.
Yeah.
They played that at my prom.
Yeah. Well,
Or it wasn't my prom. It was
I don't think I understood that for like 10 years or more, but then once you get it, you can't unhear it once you get it. Once you actually go, oh, that's what it's talking about.
That's the funny thing though, is because I was like a little bit, I was like 19, and the girl I went to prom, it was her prom, she was 18. Maybe I was 20, maybe I was 2 years older than her. But anyways, we were like a year or two apart, but I went to her prom. I think I had been out of high school a year or two. Went to her prom, and they played that song you mentioned.
Yeah.
But I knew what the song meant. I'm like, what is going on? Do you guys understand what this is? But anyways, yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, the music's like, you know, all pumping up, and you dancing, and it's fun, and a lot of people got into it. I had a good time. I had fun. You know, I'm not saying it's something I listen to all the time or it's like my jam, but, you know, hell, it is what it is. Every once in a while, you need a Big Mac or some cotton candy or some shit, ice cream. That's what that was for me.
Yeah,
you know,
as long as you're not doing it daily. Yeah.
It's not a daily thing for, like, you know.
I was more referring to the health.
But you understand,
but I get your point.
Music-wise too. Like,
I mean,
it's not anything that's going to stimulate you.
You can put your junk in your head as long as it's not a habit. Yeah.
Right. As long as I supplement it with some, like, you know, nutrients. You know, 24-hour, 365 party girls.
Add some new order, some Depeche Mode or something. Yeah, shake that out of there.
Even that's not enough.
Well, that's true, but I don't know what else. But yeah,
you get my point.
Yeah.
It's a good time. 365 party girl. You know?
Right.
You got to do that once in a while.
Well, and then
I had to get my Brad on for a night.
You mentioned our generation, which is funny because the next concert we're scheduled to see is Billy Idol, whose original band was Gen X, even though he's too old to technically himself be Gen X.
Well, you know.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But
then the following night, though, then I put on my smart hat and I went and saw Kraftwerk, and we had front row in the center, so it was like, and I was afraid that it might be too close, but it wasn't. It was perfect, and they were on these pedestals, and I was like, oh man, is this going to work? And it was awesome because it was like looking straight up at these 4 dudes with just their thing, and then you know, they had a multimedia like presentation behind them, like videos and stuff, and so all the music was synced to their lights and the video behind them. And it all kind of blended in together. So you saw the videos.
Those were nice videos. I mean, like normally footage taken from a concert is not that clean.
Right, because I was right there.
Yeah.
And so it was a perfect fucking concert to go to be in that position.
Well, and they're about as far back chronologically as you can get for that kind of music. I mean,
it's the first. They invented them and the Floyd and a couple other guys like brought that shit into existence. You know. which I'm going to see today, is Floyd of Pompeii at the IMAX at the iPic. They're playing at a bunch of IMAXs for the next week or so, or started on Thursday until next Tuesday or something. But yeah, they re-released it in a new 4K or something, so it's more vivid in color or whatever. But I had the disc when I was younger, and I used to watch that shit all the freaking time. Loved it. So I was gonna. Joanne wasn't really up for it at first, but then she's like, "Yeah, I'll go," because I made her watch that thing like 100 fucking times. See that shit so many times, but I have to go, and I can't not go. So, anyway, so I did craft work, and yeah, that was just fucking mind blowing. And that dude's 78 years old. The guy.
Oh wow.
There was the two founders. One of them, I believe, died, and then it's this guy. And then he's got three
So
others.
he's barely younger than like the Beatles and stuff. I mean.
Yeah, like.
Because the Beatles are like 82.
You can see footage of them doing their experimental stuff before I even think the album was released in 1970.
Oh wow!
And they're at like this Peace Fest or something.
Right.
These people are like, "Look, I think I've showed you that video.
Maybe
I sent it to you, and it's in black and white. And here they are, with all this weird noises and stuff, and just making noise and the precursor to techno and all that other stuff that came a decade later, and." Yeah, and you could hear some of their sounds even in like Clockwork Orange, and has very similar kind of synth stuff going on, and then even some 70s and then into the 80s. And if you know about Kraftwerk too, in the hip hop community, they sampled a shit ton of Kraftwerk. A lot of these bands, you'll hear it in techno too, you'll hear it in industrial, you'll hear it everywhere. So they were a heavy influencer. And the strange thing is people aren't that familiar with them, but they know their music because they've heard it sampled. But yeah, it was really good.
Well, and it's one of those things where they might not have heard Kraftwerk, but the bands that immediately came afterwards, a lot of people are very familiar with those. It was like just that second wave or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, exactly. So, it wasn't so much that their music got as popular as they were introduced into the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It's not like they're not known. It's just, you would think in some ways.
They're an artist.
Yeah.
There's certain bands and certain people that artists love, and they just don't seem to make it in the mainstream for whatever reason, but they're an artist. Those are usually people of very high caliber, and they're either loved or hated by the general population. But so we saw that, and then that was definitely cool. That was a little more meat and potatoes than it was ice cream at dessert. But to each his own. Like some people might, their meat and potatoes could be Charlie XCX. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to judge.
I
don't make judgments.
Last Saturday we saw the Birthday Massacre finally, which we enjoyed. But I'm just going to say it: the mixing console or her voice, or I don't know, but something was inconsistent. So it's like some of the songs, it was like dead on, boom, boom, awesome, and then some of the songs. It was like, okay, if you knew the song, you could catch the lyrics. And then I knew the songs and I couldn't catch the lyrics. But the band was consistent. It was just the vocal line wasn't always there throughout the concert. I don't know what the issue was. I know some of it could be the mixing. And I also know that in the case of the band, she has had some issues where her voice started to deteriorate and she had to step away from the band and kind of repair it and whatnot. And it may still be something like that going on. Could have been a bunch of things, but the set list was good. The songs that were strong were good. Glad we went. Anyways, I'm glad since they came down from Canada that they made it down, which they did over a month ago, which may have been part of why that wasn't an issue. But it was a good show, and it was packed. It was completely packed. And then just before, there were two opening acts. We only got there for the second opening act, but the guy that we saw, it was another one of these things where it sounded like a full band, but it was just like one guy with his synth and several other instruments on the stage, and he's singing and whatnot. But it was good. It was just, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah. Both the concerts I went to this week were good in their own regard. Regard, it's like one is good for one reason, one's good for another. Nothing holds for both. That's the thing about life is you can't really. At least I try not to. Try to appreciate everything for what it is. People too. If everybody was the same, then what the fuck good would it be to be walking around? But so I really enjoyed the shit out of both those shows. One was a lot more freeform, just dance, and the energy was really high. It was fun to watch the people just get so excited. The dancing, you know, she's got a really magnanimous personality. You know, say what you want, I don't care. Like some people might, you know, diss on that. I don't. It makes me have a good time. Makes me want to dance. Good enough.
Yeah.
The next night was a whole different. Like you know, she started like I went there, and the person I went with was like, "Don't worry, it's not going to start." I'm like, you know, we're running a little late. And they're supposed to have an opening act. I don't believe it even showed up, but you know, it didn't start till an hour later. And I'm like, this is weird. Like 9 o'clock, they're not even fucking playing yet. Because I'm used to like, you know,
at least the opening act.
The opening act is I guess they're not playing tonight, or we missed them or something. And they only played for 15 minutes, or because it might have started at 7:30. Maybe they played for whatever the case was. There was no opening act. We're sitting, got there, but it was a whole different kind of thing. But then the next night they started at 8 o'clock. Boom, that and then it was a whole different fucking world. And that like it's a whole different kind of concert, a whole different vibe, a whole different thing. But they're both, you know, good for what they're good for. Pink Floyd's gonna be awesome. Next week, Ministry. Are you going?
I don't think I'm gonna manage. Okay. Well,
I gotta figure out what to do with this extra ticket. Last time.
Oh, you've got an extra ticket?
Yeah, I got Nitzer Ev.
I'll let Rosie know and see.
Yeah,
what she,
let her know. Let me know because otherwise I gotta dig somebody else.
Right, I'll run it by Rosie and I'll let you know either yes I'm interested and no I can't. Just one or the other. Yeah.
Because I gotta dig. Because last time I had to eat a ticket when I went to Nitzer Ev.
Well, and Ministry was one of the bands that was on the bill that we saw about a year ago, but they were like one of the first bands, and so we literally caught like 2 songs that there's from the parking lot as we were walking in.
Yeah, I think you told me.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They're playing stuff off With Sympathy and Twitch, which is their old dance stuff, which I like.
Well, yeah, no, that's good. Good stuff. And I mean, the funny thing about that is Al himself, Al Jordanson. He has had a history of saying, I want to distance myself from that. So it's interesting that they're finally playing.
Well, he named the album With Sympathy because he hated it. So he called it With Sympathy. Yeah. I think it was Electric Records or something made him do this pop shit. He's like, I don't like it. But then they came out with Twitch, and it was kind of their own. And then they came out with the Land of...
and that was their transition into harder industrial.
Well, then it got into the Land of Milk Honey, and then there was the next, Mine is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I could not listen to him anymore. It was just heavy metal garbage, in my opinion. I hated it. So I'm the opposite. Like as far as like he doesn't like his old stuff. I think he's really talking about With Sympathy.
Yeah, no, he specifically, yeah.
Yeah, I think Twitch. He doesn't. I think he likes that. I think he likes. You know, hopefully he'll be playing even stuff beyond Twitch. I'm hoping he does Land of Rape and Honey and the other one, Mine is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Mm-hmm. All of those albums, Twitch, Mind, Land of Rape and Honey. Those are good albums, all of them. And especially Twitch, that like to me encapsulates industrial new wave. I mean, outside of listening to like Front 242 and Revolting Cocks, I mean that is fucking industrial. Right. Twitch is this fucking jam. So hopefully he'll do a bunch of shit off of there. That's what I'm hoping. Because when I saw him do the heavy metal stuff, I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. But anyways, yeah. So and then Nitzer Ev's playing with them too, and they're fun. They're dance. They're straight up just ED, they call it electric body music in England. What they do, but it's basically industrial. And then I don't even know the other band that much. I know they're a little more. I think they actually play instruments and shit. I have to look them up actually. I've heard them. I'm gonna look that up.
I mean, all I know is they're similar genre, and I believe they're German, and otherwise.
Yes, they're German. Like Nitzer Ev. Al Jurgensen is Cuban, but he spent time in Chicago and other places.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like Cuban American. You're saying he was actually Cuban?
Well, Cuban American.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, his ancestors.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then he spent time in Texas. I'm here in Texas for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think he got booted out, or he left because I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I'm not going to try to tell a story I don't know, but it's things I've heard. But yeah, that should be fun. I'm hoping that it'll be a lot of dancing. That's what I'm hoping. And it's not just a bunch of like angry white dudes with their shirts off banging into each other.
Emo or emos or
emos, right?
Yeah, no, it's like you said. It should be mostly people there to either watch or dance, kind of thing.
Right. I don't want a bunch of meatheads with
I doubt you'll get that for
full
this
sleeve
particular...
tattoos, just in a mosh pit, 50 years old, with their butts hanging out, banging into each other. It'll be.
It doesn't seem like that kind of a
right
thing, but
I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
I barely have the energy for that in my.
You guys saw the last video. I'm angry enough. I don't need to fuel the fucking fire, man. I just want to go dance. But yeah, I mean, that's where that gets you kind of riled up.
Oh yeah, no, but it's
a whole different kind of thing.
It's for that whole
Yeah. It's a level of angst that I can endure. Yeah, with a little bit of thoughtfulness in there. That I like to get out, and that aggression in that way, but not to the levels of like that heavy metal shit they did later, which is just pure violence, like just a violent assault to your senses. But anything like I don't know.
I know for us, and this has more to do with our personal economic situation. I was going to say it seems weird. Last year, I kept wanting to do concert after concert after concert, and this year it's like this one's the last one that we have planned, and there's nobody that we just feel like we have to see after this. And then we've also had things that make it feel like we don't have the money anymore. So
I get you, man. Everyone wants to hold on to the purse strings right now because nobody knows what the hell's going on. I think we're going to do the same thing. I mean, we got OMD tickets, but we bought those last year. And they canceled the show, and then they redid it for this.
Gotcha.
So that's coming up. I think we're going to go see Radiohead in this dome thing. It's not Radiohead the band, but they're doing an orchestration. I'm not sure how many instruments are going to be involved, but it's violin and things like that. And it's in this dome where you kind of, I guess you look up and it's like all 360. Oh, okay. It's here in Austin. They have a bunch of concerts going there for different string stuff.
OMD should be good. I know they come through every couple of years, but
I haven't seen them. So
yeah, no, we haven't seen them yet either. But some of my friends here in town.
I saw them in the '80s, but I haven't. Yeah.
Well.
They were an opening act for Depeche Mode or somebody back in the day. I think Depeche Mode they opened for. I've seen Depeche Mode so many times. I've seen Book of Love open for them. I saw OMD open for them. Who else did I see open for them? Lots of bands. Anyways, maybe even Nitzera. But
could have been.
So I think that might be the only concert I've got. OMD and this thing here. Off the top of my head, I don't know of anything else. So maybe wrap that up. We went on a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully that cleared the palate a little bit, just because otherwise you go nuts.
Look, if you made it this far and you watched the whole thing, put it in a comment and say, "Hey, dude, I watched the whole thing. You watched you idiots talk for freaking 20 minutes."
Or however you want to put it. You don't have to say that, but
It was fun watching you freaking morons. Ramble on about fucking bullshit. Oh my god, I don't think we're that entertaining, dude.
I don't know. The people who would spend more than 5 minutes watching, they might think otherwise. There are some. I don't know how many.
I don't know. I feel sorry for you.
Okay.